All right, you lot, don't forget to give us a follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And while you're at it, give us a 5-star rating. Trust me, it really does help us out. I'm assigning you Checo.
Right, okay.
So I'm
going to have to argue for Sergio Perez.
I'm Team Ricciardo.
To keep his Red Bull seat, and your Team Ricciardo.
Your Team Checo.
Okay, all right. Well, Checo, I mean, if we're looking at the start of the season, I think Checo was sensational. I think there was definitely... I think when you look at the Red Bull teammates that Verstappen's had over the last few years, if we look at Gasly, who really, really struggled at times, and Albon, Albon, who
You're not
also
sorry.
had...
You're not sorry. It's fine.
I'm not sorry. Albon, who we've had some very good performances, like Brazil, for example. Austria was doing really, really well, and then obviously got taken out by Perez both times.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, but it was a great drive. It was a great drive both times. So I'm taking all of it. And yeah, but Sergio started the season off sensation, like really, really well.
He did.
Obviously with that win as well. At where did he win?
Monaco, where he crashed on purpose, allegedly, maybe
allegedly,
not.
potentially, don't know. But again, even that plays in. Like, he's an ultimate team player. He will do whatever it takes, whatever is required for Red Bull. For maybe himself, but also for Red Bull too.
I was going to say that kind of... Okay, carry on.
I just love Sergio, man. The thing is as well, I think he's one of those drivers that can really extract the best out of any sort of car. I know obviously he was great in midfield cars as well, but tyre whisperer, you know, like I think he's an ultimate rear gunner. His defensive displays have been very good. Abu Dhabi 2021, for example. Turkey 2020/2021. Can't remember which year it was.
I can't either.
The
COVID years are just
the Mexican Minister of Defense, mate. There's a reason why he's got that title. And Daniel, not being funny, struggled this season. That's all I'm saying. Struggled the last 2 seasons. He's not a man in form.
Nah. Listen. All right. Okay. So you seriously think that in equal machinery, Checo will beat Daniel Ricciardo? How I cannot even. What are you talking? No.
Yeah. No, I do.
I'm sorry, right?
I actually do believe that legit.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm doing my best. Like,
it's like, yeah. And then I'm gonna be like, he's saying really a lot. Maybe
really. No, listen, right. So Daniel Ricciardo, if you take away that McLaren stint, right, where it clearly didn't work with the car, and he's top tier, top billing, right, no doubt. No question, right? His career up until that point was pretty much a little wobble with Daniel Kvyat in the Red Bull.
Yeah.
But like, come on,
Faultless,
beat Sebastian Vettel, 3 wins in his first season in Red Bull.
Yeah,
alongside 4-time championship winner. That's mad levels. That's equivalent to, you know, George Russell having jumped in and like won 3 races. He won 1 race relatively, but also like Daniel outperformed. And I know that's in the past. But you come forward, you come through full circle. I think with the fresh perspective that Daniel's going to have, taken this bit of time off, a little bit of step back, step back from, because clearly whatever happened at McLaren didn't work. Yeah, he still won a race. He still won a race.
He did.
And he didn't need to crash on purpose to do it either.
Oh, okay, now that's a dig. Allegedly. No, he did win the race. He was there. That did happen. That's not alleged. You know what it is? I think the thing for me, obviously, Daniel Ricciardo has a great track record in the past, but we can't ignore the last 2 years. They have been pretty shocking. And obviously, I know it's because you could argue it's been because of the car. That is definitely true. I definitely agree with the fact that you can't just go from how good he was at Renault to just like what happened at McLaren just overnight. Like, he didn't just arrive after pre-season in 2021 and go, oh yeah, well, I'm
just lose all wheel knowledge.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that obviously didn't happen, but like, will that affect his confidence levels? You know, he's especially this season has been shocking at times.
It has, granted.
And a year out as well. Like, yes, a year out may refocus him and hopefully
on the beach, bit of surfing.
just help him sort of refocus literally. But at the same time, it's a year out of the sport, and we've seen how years out of Formula One can influence you and how they can affect that little edge of sharpness, that 1/10 of a second that you may have gained had you just stayed in the sport, even at a lower team. So how do you think that's going to affect it?
Look, the thing is, right, I'm taking more digs at Checo now.
Okay, that's fair
enough. Because attack is the best form of defense. I'm going full Christian Horner, right? Look, so Checo has done a better job in that Red Bull relative to Albon and Gasly. I agree. But not that much. Let's be real, right? The metric you have to look at, first and foremost, is relative gap to your teammate.
Yeah.
Yes, start of this season, new cars for everyone. Everyone's jumping in. It's a bit more understeery. There's a bit less kind of adaptation, right? This is a good year to jump in. And yeah, Checo was pretty close. He was still like 3.5 tenths off of Max in the first half of the season, average in qualifying.
Yeah.
Right? By the end, but second half of the season, almost half a second, which is pretty much as far off as Albon was. Now, Alex Albon is okay, right? I love him. I don't think he's the next best thing since sliced bread. I don't think he's George Russell, Lando Norris. I've not seen enough to believe that yet. But what I'm saying is that Daniel's highs, the highs that Daniel has shown throughout his career, going toe-to-toe with Max and beating Max in their first season together, coming up short but having tons of DNFs as well in like his final season at Red Bull.
Yeah.
Daniel has shown he can hang with Max.
Yeah.
Perez, I think you look at those in individual instances where he's looks close. So Baku last year, he was close, still behind, but close. Monaco, again, like with how qualifying turned out with Ferrari bottling it, Checo was, if Sainz doesn't get held up by Latifi, Sainz is probably winning that race. Like there's a lot of context to that. Daniel could match Max on pace. And I don't think really, apart from in Saudi Arabia, we've ever seen that from Checo.
I hear that. I do hear that. No, I do hear it. But a lot of things have changed since Daniel Ricciardo was matching Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen has changed since Daniel Ricciardo was matching Max Verstappen. Like this was a time, this was like 2017 to 2018, right? Yeah. I mean, how old was Max even then? He was still like a teenager in 2017, right? He was like 19.
Little baby.
Yeah, he's a little baby. A little baby. Yeah, Jack Grealish song. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, okay, I'll show it you after. But it's really bad. Anyway, sorry.
Digress.
I digress. A few things have changed, obviously, since then. Max has obviously flourished into probably the best driver, definitely the best driver on the grid.
Yeah.
Since then, he was still very accident prone at that point. Very quick, definitely raw speed, 1000%. But I think that iron will determination has definitely grown even more since then. I think if you put Max, this is very if, buts, and maybes, but if the current Max of now was against Daniel Ricciardo in 2017, Daniel Ricciardo does not win that battle. And the current Daniel Ricciardo of now definitely does not win that battle against Max Verstappen either. So I know when you were talking about the relative of, Sergio is like 3 tenths off, 3.5 tenths off Max. Yeah, fine. But it's Max Verstappen. Daniel Ricciardo, for me, is not matching Max in a Red Bull now. He's going to be off the pace as well. So it's a matter of how far off the pace is someone going to be.
That's always going to be.
Because Max is the question because it's Max.
Yeah, because Max is that good. And that's the thing, like Max has, he violated Gasly. Yeah. Violated Albon. And now he's been like, again, you look at that relative delta.
He has slapped Sergio, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
But
also they've been in their car's been stronger.
Yep. Yeah.
That Sergio's been able to capitalize on the opportunities when they're presented themselves.
Yeah.
But also he finished 149.8 points behind Max.
Yeah, that is outrageous.
And won 2 races all year. Again, Monaco is a big slice of fortune in that as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Max wins 15.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like Max has improved. Yes, of course. I think Max's main improvements have not necessarily been his pace. It's been his consistency. It's been his decision making.
Yeah, same.
So I just feel like for Daniel to, I think Prime Ricciardo, for me, Prime Ricciardo is definitely quicker than Prime Perez for me. If it's today, it's a difficult one. But
okay, yeah, I hear that. But I'm saying it's today. Right here, right now.
Right now.
Yeah. This afternoon.
Yeah.
It's quarter past one. They're in the cars by 1:30. Ready to go out on the track for qualifying.
In those Red Bull liveried minis, yeah?
Yeah, in the minis. In the minis. Oh, that's a different question as well, actually.
Who's winning that then? In the minis?
In the minis.
Christian Horner.
Yeah, Christian Horner's winning it in the minis.
He's going quicker than anyone.
He's going quicker than anyone.
He used to be a racing driver, you know?
Yeah, he did, yeah. So I've seen him in the overalls, Toto Wolff as well. He used to be a Red Bull driver, actually, which is very
odd.
Yeah, it's weird how that sort of turns out. I think in the here and now, this very day, today, at 1:15 p.m. on a Monday
a neutral
afternoon, in a neutral car, that's the crucial thing, in the same car, the same machinery, I think Sergio Perez edges it. I think it's closer than people might think based off the form of the last year. Because again, I think a lot of the reason why Daniel Ricciardo has struggled recently has been not getting along with that McLaren car.
Yeah.
But I especially think after a year out of the sport and the lack of confidence that he may well have after the last 2 years, this isn't the Daniel Ricciardo of 2017, 18 and 19. This is the Daniel Ricciardo of 2022. And I think Sergio Perez would edge him.
I think it would depend if you got Danny on a good day where he was like I think right now, like Sergio kind of knows where he's at. I think he's more consistent.
Yeah.
I think, Daniel would have a really good weekend, really bad weekends, really good weekends, a couple of bad weekends. Like, I think there's not that same, like you say, confidence in him. If he was up for it and confident in game, I think he'd go quicker. If he wasn't, then I think, because Sergio's it's like qualifying pace versus race pace as well. Qualifying pace, I would say Ricciardo. Race pace, I'd say Perez.
Yeah,
but out and out speed.
Ooh,
I'm still backing him.
It's a difficult one, I'm not going to lie. Well, we need to ask the public. We need to ask, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Who would win in equal machinery? Sergio Perez or Daniel Ricciardo?
Actually, let's quickly, 2024, who's in that second Red Bull seat alongside Max Verstappen? We're gonna hold ourselves to this.
That is tough. Because I'm gonna be honest, right? This is gonna be like so on the fence. Like, it sounds like I'm being on the fence. I'm gonna make a decision after, but it does depend. If Red Bull, for instance, lose the Constructors' Championship because Sergio Perez was not competitive enough, then I think you might actually see Daniel Ricciardo get a chance.
Because Red Bull are gonna have enough. They're gonna do a bit of sim work with Daniel. They're gonna. They're going to have some knowledge of which Daniel they're getting.
Yeah.
If they know for a fact they're getting the Red Bull or Renault Ricciardo, if they know for a fact they're getting that Daniel and Sergio doesn't get closer to Max by the end of next year, I think they replace him. So that's what it kind of comes down to.
Yeah,
that's the way, because I think that the constructors' battle is going to be closer.
I think it will. I think they didn't get lucky this year necessarily, but I think Sergio cannot be 150 points behind Max Verstappen again next season. No. And if Ferrari and Mercedes are competitive to a point where, as you said, Leclerc and Sainz pretty equal. Sainz struggled at the start, but I think towards the end of the season, Sainz really brought it back.
Both Ferrari drivers had more bad luck and had more L's. Like Sainz got took out by Russell.
And he took out all that sort of jazz. Yeah, Austria blew up. Yeah. Like Mercedes, if they're going to become competitive again, like for an entire season, George and Lewis are well matched. If literally just on the equal machinery, but if Ferrari and Red Bull and Mercedes were relatively on pace, you would argue that the biggest gap is definitely between Max and Sergio.
Definitely is.
You can't even argue. It definitely factually is. So he would be someone that would be a limiting factor there. He'd be someone that, like, if the two Ferraris on the pace, whatever.
But look, listen, I love Checo. I really hope he needs to find a way, and Red Bull need to find a way. That's the thing, because I think it's in Red Bull's best interest that they keep Checo and they keep him happy and they get a driver that's...
Yeah.
Because he's clearly very capable. But there's obviously numerous reasons why he isn't as close to Max as Carlos is to Charles. And I'm sure a degree of that is talent. I think Max is a more talented driver. But there's clearly more to it. And I hope that Red Bull and Sergio can understand
what it is.
Why that side of the garage hasn't been anywhere near Max for so long now.
Yeah. Okay, right. So we've gone through basically everything that we can there in terms of arguing what we've been assigned here. But obviously, I was assigned Sergio Perez. Do you, Tommo, think that I actually believe in Checo?
I do. I do think you actually believe that.
I actually can confirm that I do. I do genuinely think Checo would beat Daniel Ricciardo. Not going to lie. I do. I just off the balance
Equal
of the last
machinery
couple of
right
years.
now.
Equal machinery today at 1:30 p.m. I think so. What about you? You're obviously assigned Daniel Ricciardo.
I was assigned Daniel Ricciardo. Do you think I believe it?
I actually think you believe it, yeah. I think you believe it. I think you believe Daniel Ricciardo would beat Sergio Perez.
I don't.
Really? You think Checo would win?
I think today Checo wins.
Yeah. Mad.
I think
you were very convincing. I'm not going to lie.
today.
I genuinely thought that you were on that.